Hey guys, today we're going to look at this Anbull 223cc engine, and I've had this thing a while. I've been wanting to get it on the table and have a look at it and do just a quick review and see what it's made of. Now I notice it's got a nice cast valve cover, and this is a non-Hemi type engine. That's really odd. And I've seen this before. Yeah, it's got these numbered side cover to help you with your torque pattern. If you've seen a Wildcat 223, those are pretty common. The block has got a nice bracing back there, and I see some ribbing on the front. It's a good thick block. So far, hey, I'm liking it. Now, I don't know if I'll be running this air cleaner on there or not, but I'm going to check it out and see what kind of filter we got in here. And it looks like it has the cartridge type filter. Yeah, it's got a paper mesh element back there with a nice foam pre-filter. So yeah, I'm happy with that. May not use it on this one, but it's always good to have one. We'll use it on something. So without further ado, let's get into this thing and see what it's made of. Because I'd like to know, did I get my money's worth or not? Now, when I purchased this, I've had this for a couple of months, I guess. I think I gave like $2.19 with free shipping. And this one came from the Jungle site. Let me get this unplugged here. There we go. This one came from the Jungle site. And, you know, the $2.19 price is not too bad. Considering, you know, with the free shipping, if I'd have bought a 223 Wildcat, you know, it would have had probably about $35 shipping tacked on. And let me undo my wire loom here, and you know, you can just use a straight tip screwdriver, or if you can get your thumb in there, whatever. And they just gotta look like a piece of little convoluted tube over there, so that's plenty good. Neat little package, okay. And man, I noticed something. These wires, goodness. I don't know if those are shrink wrapped together or a shrink tube on that. Oh, they're really tight, but you know, guys, just give her a grab. I think they put one piece of shrink tubing on there, and they shrunk it down after after they got them connected. But hey, you know, quality workmanship. Can't complain. Can't complain at all. Now, let's get this side cover off. And most of you guys know how this goes. It's 4 bolts to sip them off. I'm kind of anxious to see what kind of flywheel we got underneath here. Now, I know it's going to be cast iron. I mean, you know, there's no doubt in my mind, because this is not a kart racing engine. But I'm just kind of wondering if it's got that extended fan and stuff. No, it doesn't. Oh, it's a black plastic fan, and the pull start housing is a standard width, so that's good. None of that weird wide 224 Predator side cover with the weird fan. But let me see if I can get this clamp off here with these forceps here. I don't know what I've laid my bent needle nose somewhere. I have to find them. But it's got a nice fuel line. If you guys notice that, it is numbered, and it's got a support inside the fuel line. Most of those fuel lines are non-supported lines, non-braced inside. Hawaii, okay, or Huyai, whatever. Well, it's like got a place there. Maybe we can do some adjustment. And you know, I'm not really crazy about these things, these type carburetors, and I'll probably end up replacing this if I do anything with this engine. But I'm going to go ahead and measure it up for you guys that, you know, may be using this. And so it looks like the throttle bore is right at 750 thousandths, so about 3/4 of an inch. And now that's not the venturi. I'm going to get another measurement on the venturi. And since I got those nifty, handy dandy bore gauges now, long reach gauges, I'll go ahead and pull the choke butterfly out of this thing and get a measurement inside. In there to where you could see the venturi of the carburetor, which is quite a bit smaller than the bore, quite a bit. And I'm getting here, well, if I can get it up on camera, yeah, it was around 610, somewhere on that venturi. And I could be off a little bit, but you know, you'd be lucky if it was any larger than that. It may be just a few thousandths larger, but not a very big carb. I'm gonna go ahead and zip this gas tank off. Now I can't help but tell you, and it's probably not important, but I just love this red color on this pull start color cover in that gas tank. I just love that. And so, you know, full points for the paint job they did on this, and it feels nice. I mean, it's almost like a nice bonded, heat bonded type coating on there. It's really good. It's really smooth too. So I'm enjoying that. And I did notice, although, you know, I'm not crazy about these cast iron flywheels, and that's probably going to be the first thing to go, this does have balance marks on it. So the company did evidently balance this flywheel. And that's something, you know, you don't see on all of them. And it'll take me a minute, guys, here. Just kind of be patient with me. I got to snake that fuel line up through there and get it out of the way. Yeah, and you know, the cast iron flywheel, of course I was expecting that, and am not surprised whatsoever. But you know, if nothing else, I'll put a little PVL flywheel on there, or you know, depending on what I do with it. If I go super high RPM, I'll probably put a billet. But now this one, yeah, we'll just go ahead and zip this muffler off here. And you know, I don't think there's no performance in this thing, but it is a nice muffler. Got to give them credit. This is different. This has got a plastic. The block is reinforced. Now that kind of reminds me of a Ducar a little bit, and it kind of reminds me of a Tillotson. But it does have a reinforced back rib there, so that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and get this throttle assembly off. If you guys would be putting this back on, it's just one spring goes into the throttle lever. You can't get it wrong. And get this plug out of the way. Man, I'm really liking that valve cover. That's cast aluminum valve cover. You know, most of these have like a little stamped tin valve cover on them. And so, you know, if you guys like customizing, decking out your engine, well, you could cut that with some sandpaper and buff it to polish it if you want to. LG, okay, life's good. I don't know. I'm satisfied. That's about what I figured. I figured it would have either LG or a Torch. But really happy with this block so far. Now this heat shield here is different. This it's like an air vent circuit, so the air can circulate around the block. This is different. This is like a plastic type material, and looks like it's form fitted to the block, and this is the first time I've seen this. And wow, it looks like it almost fits. I mean, what they did a super job on this. This is awesome. Wow. Well, that's got to come off before the carb spacer will come off. Okay. Well, let's see if I can get this thing off without breaking it. I might actually use this. I'm kind of wondering, you know, how good plastic will hold up. You know, I guess if you don't overheat the engine and melt it, you'd probably be okay. Now I've got to get, I haven't figured it out yet. I've got to get a flat screwdriver in behind that plastic and pry it away from the mounting places on the engine. No, it's not coming off there until you get that shroud off there, buddy. Yep, that's blocking you. Come on. Just go ahead and get your screwdriver and get this plastic cover off here. And, you know, for directing airflow, I mean, it looks like it would do a really great job. So, you know, I may actually put this back on. I don't know if it'll stand up to performance stuff, but hey, you know, never know till you try. So the way I was going to do this, I had figured out I had to pry it out a little bit and then get it off of those mounting places on the head and the block there. And then I could slide this thing forward. And man, that thing is a tight fit on there. Really strange. First time I'd ever seen one. I like seeing new stuff though. I really do. Yeah. Neat. So that's cool. Now I can get this off and just throw the gasket in the floor. Yeah, that's okay. I got it. Now let's get this valve cover off and see what this thing looks like underneath. I know it's a non-Hemi type. You can tell by the shape of the valve cover. But, you know, again, you know, I'm just really tickled to death with this valve cover. I'm impressed with that. Ooh, a few love taps there. Come on, loose. Loose. And that gasket's really stuck on there. And I think, to their credit, I think they used those gaskets that's got the sealer on them. And because they stuck really good. Most of the gaskets stuck really good. And before I put this thing together, I'm going to have to go ahead and get a gasket set for it. But that's okay. I've got a couple on order anyway. But, yeah, I like that. Like that valve cover. Now, on these rockers, boy, those are loosey-goosey. I don't know if they got the valves adjusted correctly or not. And this is another reason why you want to go ahead, even when you got a brand new engine, you want to go ahead and disassemble it. I'm just going to push these down. It's got stock springs, but if you notice, it has lash caps on both valves. Some kind of, I don't know what this is. That's a coating or what? Something on the push rods. It may be some sort of anti-wear coating or something. I don't know. But you know what I did like though, you know, it comes with those lash caps, and that's good. You know, most everything else doesn't. It comes with one rotator on the exhaust. Yeah, I was having a discussion with Dark Corner Garage on the last video in the comment section. We were talking about that little LCT engine. Like the others, it only comes with an exhaust rotator with a cap on the exhaust valve. But now these have one on the intake and one on the exhaust. So, you know, full points. I like that. Good job, guys, whoever built this. And what we have here, it's just, I don't know, 18, 20-ish, maybe 22cc head. Looks like 27, 25. Oh, wow, look at this. We have a very nice flat top. That is beautiful. I'm liking that. Yes, sir. That is great. Wow, I am floored. I was fully expecting one of those heavy dished pistons for this thing that would be installed in this thing, but it has got a nice looking flat top. It is way below deck though. See if I can. I have to clean off some of this gasket stuff here, but see if I can get fairly close. Estimate if I can get this gasket crap. Sorry guys, I'll try to be quick here. But I just want to get a rough idea about how far this thing is down the bore. And it's showing, wait, almost 46,000, 45,500 thousandths down the hole. I'll calibrate my gauge, and I'm going to check it again and make sure, because I hadn't calibrated this gauge in a while. Let's check again. Now that is showing 44.5 or almost 45 thousandths down the hole. So it's below deck, almost 45 thousandths. And that's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, that's probably, yeah, 2022 maybe CC head with the 27, 25 millimeter valves. I'm really liking that. I'm liking this side cover. I love that. It's got the torque pattern on there. It's got your extra bolt on the bottom. And again, these are features that anybody that's, you know, been inside of a Wildcat, you've seen this before, because this is a Wildcat feature here. And those are really great engines too, 223cc. I'm wondering if that's a Wildcat flat top in there too, is what I'm wondering. Give a little love tap, and the side cover loose. And I like to use a wooden hammer handle there, guys. You know, you use whatever you like. Come on, come on. And hey, we've got a metal cam. That's not plastic. All right. That's not plastic. B1. And I don't see any grinding, clearancing for that crankshaft, so that must be a fairly close profile cam. Looks good. Good looking little cam. Can't complain. That crankshaft looks great. I love that. You see the side of that machine, the side of that crank is machined. That's very nice. And it's machined all the way across. It's got a little bumps on the bottom there. And looks like they didn't grind on the bottom of the crankshaft. Oh, this is a forged crank. You can see by that wide forging mark up there next to the rod. Very nice. Very nice. Nothing wrong with that. You know, that's $100 in itself right there. So, you know, we're looking with a nice reinforced block, and it's not a Dakar, and it doesn't say Tillotson. It shares a lot of features with the Tillotson block, and it is thick like the Dakar too, but it doesn't say Tillotson. But it's a very nice reinforced block. So, you know, I'm thinking that's probably around $100 investment there. Now, before we get too far, let's measure this cam. Looks like we got a Honda clone cam, Honda size journal, 549 thousandths. Any Honda cam will work in there. For Honda clones will work. Great. I'm liking the lobes on that thing too. Now, I did measure the lobes, and it's nothing major. It's like still 225s or 227, something like that. There's nothing major about the cam. But it is, you know, a nice metal cam and not plastic. So, you know, I give them credit. It's a good job, guys. Get my lifter out of the way here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got to get a longer wrench. Now, these connecting rod bolts are torqued. These are torqued for sure. Not to mess up that gasket. Yeah, there's no doubt those were torqued. See what this top one sounds like. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, good job, guys. Those, you don't have to worry about those coming loose. And another thing about these bolts, these look very nice. Very dark. I'd say that's a good looking grade 8 bolt anyway. You know, a lot of them aren't. So full points on the bolts. You know, I'm impressed with those. Just like on the LCT engine, that had some really great bolts in the rod. Now let's get this piston out of here and see what we got. Oh, joy. That is looks like a 223 Wildcat piston. I love that. Mars rod. Huh. I think those are popular with some of the go-kart builder guys. Excellent. Excellent. Now this is another reason. You see those ring gaps? This is another reason why you want to disassemble your brand new engine completely before you ever start it. You know, those ring gaps, they weren't lined up perfectly, but they were really close. With a little running, you know, that could have very well lined up and started losing compression and power. So, yeah, another good reason. Always disassemble your engine and check it out before you ever run it. Gotta get my kill wires. Snake this thing through there. Now on the Wildcat engines, you know, they have a rev limiting coil on them, and I'm not sure about this one. I'm gonna look up those part numbers, and if I can find anything on them, I'll let you know in the description, because I'm not going to be running this one today. I don't have a gasket set. But yeah, those are the part numbers, and I'll try to look that up. It's very wide. I'm noticing this is wider than a standard coil, seems like to me. So I'm not certain if that's a rev limiter or just a stock unlimited coil. But you know, even if it is a rev limited coil, that's only, you know, 12 bucks. I'll put a regular standard coil on it. Yeah, that came out pretty easy. And I'm liking that fan, those plastic fins. Black, that's nice. Now, you see these flywheels, guys? I have a lot of comments, people talking about I should use a puller when I take the flywheel off, but there are no holes. You know, normally I could use one of these if it had holes in the flywheel, or I could use one of these pullers, you know, but there aren't any holes in that flywheel, so you can't get a puller on there. It won't work. So, you know, the best way I've found, and you know, this is recommended, just put your nut on there, tap the end of the crank there and break it off the taper, and the flywheel will come right loose. Yeah, I don't know if I'll put this one back on or not, but you know, it's no worse for wear. So yeah, don't be so worried about, you know, putting a pry bar behind your flywheel. Matter of fact, the only way I've broken one of these was when I used is it a 3-jaw or 4-jaw puller that put a lot of pressure on the outside of the flywheel, because I used to think, hey, you know, I should have a flywheel puller, right? No, sometimes that doesn't work out. And we've got about 1 inch, 179 thousandths on the crank journal. So it's going to be a Honda clone size, Honda clone. Yeah. It's got just a little out around, not much. I mean, probably less than a half a thousandth. This is a good crank. Good crank, and that's also the way you want to check your oil clearance on your crank and your rod, guys, too. You measure that crank all the way around, and then you measure the ID on your rod or rod bearing, and then subtract, and that'll get you your actual oil clearance. You know, but now if you don't have one of these little 1995 dial calipers, you know, you can use plastic gauge. It works too. This crank is good. A lot of them have a lot ground off on the bottom. This has got a lot of the weight left on the counter weights back here. That's going to make a smoother running engine. That is going to make a smoother running engine. This is good. I'm liking this better than the Predator 224. Much better. Now, this is one out of the Ghost. I'm going to measure it, but I mean, to measure the cam out of this, and we'll run the numbers on it. But I don't think it's going to be a performance cam like the Ghost. You know, I'm looking right around 225 or so. But now this piston, I am tickled to death. You know, guys, if you got to buy this piston and ring separately, that's another 20 bucks. So, you know, And these rings, they don't feel like, well, they're not really that low of a tension, but you know, I felt worse. It's not bad, not a bad set of rings in there. I know some of you guys probably want to see this head gasket, so he measures 50 thousandths thick on the head gasket. Overall, I am tickled to death with this engine. This is a good one, and I think I might do some builds on it. I don't know, we'll see. But you know, you can't really complain. $219, free shipping. It's got a nice crank. The machine work is good. You get a good reinforced block. I'm liking a lot of the features. I love the piston that's in there, of course, you know. But yeah, I probably put a flywheel on this one and maybe a billet rod. This will make a nice little engine. That's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll see you next time.